Hey everyone, after a little summer break, I'm back to talk more chocolate with you. And this week, I thought I would talk about Omnom Chocolate. Iceland has been getting a few minutes of fame on Netflix these days with with the Will Ferrell movie Fire and Ice, and with the Zac Efron going to visit Omnom on his Down to Earth series. So I thought I would talk about Omnom Chocolate since it's been having its spotlight right now. So I actually have quite a few Omnom bars right now. I've got a nice little snack because I really am a fan of Omnom. And one of the reasons is that it's got a pastry chef involved, and whenever there's a pastry chef involved, they are really good at plucking out flavors of chocolate. So let's talk about Omnom. So Omnom was founded in 2013, so 7 years old in 2020, by two childhood friends in the world's most northern capital, Reykjavik, Iceland. It is Iceland's only bean-to-bar chocolate maker. And the two guys that founded it, and I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong, Kjartan Gíslason. He was a pastry chef and a chef working all around Europe and Iceland for the last 2 decades. Actually, he worked at, if you watched the Zac Efron show where they went to the restaurant afterwards called Dill, well, Kjartan worked there as well before he started Omnom. So he started off as a pastry chef. So as a pastry chef, he knew about Valrhona, he knew about single estate chocolate. He just didn't, know about these things. And so he started making chocolate as a challenge to himself. And he brought in his childhood friend, Oscar Potherson, I think it is. It's got a kind of D-shaped symbol, but I think it's pronounced a TH and it's not a D. I apologize again if I pronounced this wrong. So Oscar, he started off working as a fisherman. His father was a fisherman captain on a fishing boat, and he started off there, and he moved into working with food startups in the financial sector. So Oscar's really the financial guy. Kjartan is the taste guy, I guess, when they started. So they started as most chocolate makers do, roasting and grinding beans in their apartment. They started as most chocolate makers have, with beans from Madagascar, specifically Bertil Åkesson's beans or Åkesson's beans, which they said blew their mind. And if you've ever had them, if that's the first bean you're having that isn't a fine quality bean, then yeah, it's gonna blow your mind. For the first few months that they were producing, they were making about 100 bars a week, and they were just selling them in local small coffee shops. Eventually they needed a bigger space, so they moved into an abandoned gas station. So these bars, Omnom, is quite possibly the best thing ever to come out of a gas station. So lots of experimenting, some machines dying. Kjartan tells a story about how they were caramelizing sugar and it just seized up the machine, just killed the machine. Lots of inedible chocolate, but then you hit the magic formula and they're making delicious, wonderful, totally edible chocolate. They have moved out of that abandoned gas station. They're now in the harbor area of Reykjavik in a new factory in an area that's undergoing some revival. 6 months in, one of the things that's unique to Omnom is their design. If you've ever seen their packages, very unique designs with that geographic shapes of everything. They brought in their designer 6 months into having the company. His name is Andre. And the package was really just inspired by nature and simplicity and geometry and functionality and Iceland. What really helped their business really get going is when they got into the Icelandic airport and people could buy Iceland chocolate as souvenirs as you know, if you've traveled, anything in an airport is more expensive than it would be outside an airport. So people didn't balk as much, paying more for chocolate in the airport. So that really helped them improve their business. Also, Iceland Air started using Omnom as a dessert for their first class passengers, and that helped them as well. So I believe now there are 4 partners involved in Omnom. There's Kjartan, Oscar, Vigo, and Andre. So I have a few bars. I think I'm gonna taste one of their milk bars, and I'll talk about when I open it. They're famous, so their Milk of Madagascar is their most awarded bar, and I'll talk a little bit about their milk because it's special Icelandic milk. The Milk of Nicaragua, I think this is the one I'm going to try. Their Milk of Tanzania. So they use beans from Madagascar, Tanzania, and Nicaragua. Nicaragua is from the Ingeman farm. Let me see, what else can I think of? Tanzania is Cocoa Kamili. Madagascar they get from the Ukasin farm. They actually have specific plots on the farm where they get their beans from. But I'm going to tell you about the milk later. And then they also have a lot of really cool inclusions. This one. So these 2 bars actually, they came out around Valentine's Day, but they say they're not really Valentine's bars. So this one, sea salted toffee. They use salt that is farmed in Iceland. This one's really good. I would highly recommend this one. And this one is their licorice and raspberry. Licorice is licorice. It's a licorice powder that they use, and it's very unique flavors. This is one of those bars where you either really like it or you really hate it. But it is a unique flavor for Icelandic chocolate. They say they're not really Valentine's bars, but they are about love. They're about loving yourself, loving other people, loving the things that you put in your body so you can be healthy. So they're not really Valentine's bars. You should have them other times than Valentine's. And then another one that I have on hand is their blackened burnt barley bar. This bar has activated charcoal in it, and when you open it, it's actually black. And if you're so inclined, you can actually write with this bar. It's got a very unique malted barley flavor to it. It's a fun bar to try and to taste. They recently came out with another bar, and I can't remember. It's like super nutty barley berry nibbly-ishes, something like that. But it's like their version of trail mix in a chocolate bar. I haven't had that one yet, but I'm excited to try it. So today I'm going to open, I think, their Milk of Nicaragua bar. And let's flip the camera around and I'll tell you a little bit about the special Icelandic milk that gives it this fantastic flavor, and more about the bar itself. So we'll taste it and try it together. Okay, so I have 3 of their milk bars. So I talked about there's a 65 Tanzania made with the Cocoa Kamili beans. We're not going to taste that one today. And then their Milk of Madagascar is their most awarded bar. It's one that's received the most awards. It's a 45%. Again, from specific plots on from Madagascar. We're not going to try that one today. Today I want to try the Milk of Nicaragua. Now the Nicaragua beans come from the Ingeman estate. They're the Opio beans. This is an award winner too. Won an award 2018. It won an International Chocolate Award. They do, so if you look at their wrapper, besides all the cool design on it, and I don't have their famous unicorn bar. That one never lasts long around our house. They don't have designations like fair trade or anything like that. That's because these guys do direct trade. So they skip the certifications that cost the farmers, and they skip the middlemen, and they direct trade with the farmers and with the estates, and that sends more money back to the farmers themselves. So let's talk about the magical Icelandic milk. So while I open this, I love these designs. If you haven't seen it, they have a really cool Easter Bunny chocolate that you can get called Mr. Carrots. It's very geometric and it's really cool. So they use Icelandic milk powder. And like I said before, where they destroyed one of their machines caramelizing sugar, so they figured out that if they slowly roast the milk powder, slow and low, it gives it a caramelized flavor so that they don't have to caramelize the sugar and ruin their machines. But the other thing they use, so if we look at the ingredients here, you can see that the ingredients are organic cocoa beans, organic cane sugar, cocoa butter, Icelandic milk powder, and sunflower lecithin. Sunflower lecithin is an emulsifier. So Icelandic milk powder, the reason they're pointing out that is because it's a special kind of milk. So the cows in Iceland were brought from Norway by the Vikings over 1,000 years ago. And since then, it's been a closed system. There's no cows going in and off. There's no interbreeding with continental cows. It's a closed system, closed off stock. And so they have this unique flavor to their milk, and it's got their milk powder just has this perfect amount of fat and protein that gives it a unique complex flavor. And it's actually illegal in Iceland to use anything other than Icelandic dairy products. So they source from dairies. There's over 700 farms on Iceland, and the cows graze openly when it's warm enough. When it's cold, they come inside. So that's the magic of Icelandic milk. And I know there have been other chocolate makers that have tried to get Icelandic milk, but they can't. So this is something special and unique to Omnom Chocolate. So let's see what else is on this wrapper. They don't put a huge amount of information on their wrapper. Dairy warnings, there's your allergy warnings. It's got its expiration date, and that's pretty much it. So we're going to taste, this is 50% cocoa with milk powder. Why do you use milk powder instead of milk? Because chocolate and water are not friends when you're trying to make a chocolate bar. You need to have minimal water when you're trying to make a chocolate bar. So I just love their geometric designs. I think they're so cool. All right, let's open this up. Smells fantastic. It's a good looking bar. Look at the shine on that bar. Nice temper, not too thick. That's like a good, really good thickness on it. Let's listen if we can. Oh, I can already hear the snap. For a milk bar, can you guys hear that snap? That's a really good snap for a milk bar. I wouldn't expect that much of a snap with a milk. Okay, so yeah, it's nice looking, even grains in there. No off colors, really nicely tempered, nicely done. Let's taste it and see and smell it and see what we can find. Okay, so when I warm this up a little bit to melt the cocoa butter and release the aromatics, I smell, it's very earthy. I smell mushrooms quite clearly. And like kind of almost like a sour cream kind of milk funk. When I taste it, let's break off a piece to taste. So this is a 50%, but it's much creamier than I expected. I get the cooling sensation from the cocoa butter melting. I get the earthiness. I almost get the same kind of creaminess that you would get in like a Hershey bar, where it's kind of a it's just, yeah, it's really good. There's the milk has a depth there that you wouldn't expect. Really nice mouthfeel. Melts really evenly. Oh, and right at the end of the top of my palate, I get a little bit of like pepper, black pepper or peppercorn in there. So it's not, it's creamier than I would expect from a Nicaragua bean, but it's really nice. If you like earthy earthy flavors, umami, mushroom. You're really going to like this milk bar. But I really like Omnom. I like a lot of their chocolate, which is why I have a lot laying around my house. Their sea salt and toffee one is really good. They get their sea salt from a place that farms it on Iceland. They take the salt out and then they use the water to do their almonds for their almond bar. So it's really good. I don't know what else I can tell you much about this, but I enjoyed that as a chocolate. It's got that unique Icelandic milk flavor to it. Very earthy, very a nice bar. Not what you would expect for a Nicaragua bean. So let's flip the camera around and finish up. All right, so that was the Milk of Nicaragua bar that we tried today. It was really nice. I would recommend almost anything that you can get from Omnom to try. They have really great bars. One other thing that I wanted to point out about Omnom, if you watched the Down to Earth show with Zac Efron, you saw that on Iceland, they get all of their energy from two sources, geothermal and from hydroelectric. So they're very environmentally friendly in producing their chocolate bars as well. So that not only are they have that going for them, but they source direct trade from places that are concerned about social change and about taking care of farm holders and stakeholders in the business. They get their cane sugar from Brazil. They work with a company there that the Nature Green Cane Project, where that's been going since 1986, and they have worked with reversing deforestation in Brazil and increasing diversity. So that's another one of their ingredients that are carefully sourced for environmental responsibility. The other thing, so also with the Green Cane Project, they also recycle their bio-waste to help fuel local cities. If you've ever seen a sugarcane, you know there's a lot of waste, bio-waste that comes out of sugarcane production. So they're producing their chocolate 100% carbon-free in their factories. They're sourcing from socially responsible sources. They're making great chocolate. There's no reason why you should not be eating Omnom chocolate. There's a reason why they're getting their moment in the sun right now. So I hope that you will go out and try some Omnom chocolate. That's all I have to say about the only Icelandic bean to bar maker. Next week, we'll talk about another maker. I'm going to talk about one that's more readily available in the United States versus Europe. But if you enjoy learning about your chocolate makers and about responsibly sourced chocolate, make sure that you like and subscribe so that you'll get a new video every week. Thanks so much for listening.